On October 9th, 2019, Kevin Roose of the New York Times published an article profiling PewDiePie and what he really believes. The article, featuring the subtext, "The biggest YouTuber in the world has been accused of being a closeted white nationalist and even inspiring mass shootings. He says it's all a misunderstanding." And although this article was meant to humanize Felix in the mainstream media, there's a lot of context conveniently missing from this 5,000-word narrative. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down the context, or lack thereof, of the Kevin Roose article. Here's everything the New York Times got wrong about PewDiePie. The article begins by recounting the printer hacks that occurred during the Subscribe to PewDiePie meme. One day, last November, Mitch, an administrator at an Illinois staffing agency, was called upon to help solve an office mystery. A handful of co-workers were huddled around an office printer where a one-page document had just printed itself out. Unprompted. Nobody in the office knew what it meant. Those documents obviously being sent from Hacker Giraffe. Alright, Kevin. Firstly, let's just get this out of the way. The printer hacks were bad and probably should have never happened. Secondly, it's not like these were malicious attacks in any way, shape, or form. And thirdly, Felix had no part in the hacking of these printers. And I'm not gonna lie, I think that third point is gonna become a recurring theme. At the end of the day, nobody got hurt, and if anything, it just urged people to learn how to secure their printers in the future from a truly malicious attack. I think we can all agree what was done was illegal and probably shouldn't have happened, but I don't understand why it's such a big deal. I mean, if you think that was bad, Chromecasts were hacked in January of this year. The printer hack wasn't an isolated incident. For months, tributes to PewDiePie had been popping up all over the world. Billboards and flyers appeared in India, Bangladesh, and Times Square. Early this year, hundreds of Estonian fans held a parade in the nation's capital city, chanting his name and holding signs that said "Sub to Pewds." Someone shocked subscribed to PewDiePie on a World War II memorial in Brooklyn. Okay, yikes. The Subscribe to PewDiePie meme was not an isolated incident. Duh, that's what made it a meme. But to lump all the positive things that were done in the vein of Subscribe to PewDiePie with the one dimwit who had to spray paint the World War II memorial, it's harsh. And it's a stab in the already open wound for all of us who did their part to save PewDiePie. We live in a society, and as humans, we want to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and PewDiePie vs. T-Series allowed us to do that. Regarding what happened with the World War II memorial, as I'm sure you guys already know what I'm gonna say, it was disgusting, it was horrible, it was bad, it shouldn't have happened. But the thing that the general audience does not seem to understand and grasp is that PewDiePie has zero control, zero, the number zero control over the dimwits, the dummy-dumbs if you will, of his audience. He has 100 million people following him. 100 million people, that's a third of America. If one American does a hate crime, does that say something for every single person in America? Does that represent the entire country? No, but for some reason in PewDiePie's case, it does. Plus, something that this article fails to mention is that it's not like Felix just brushed this under the rug. He's mentioned it many times, and he also donated to help fix the memorial afterwards. It's not like he just turned a blind eye. The article then discusses the Christchurch shooting. Oh boy, which is just unsettling to read about anytime. I don't care who's writing it, I just hate this part. I think everyone hates this part of the story. I don't think that anyone is like, yeah, let's talk about this more. Thankfully, in this section, Roose does mention that PewDiePie has no control over his audience, as short as a disclaimer as it may be. Kevin then goes in to explain that there are really two sides of YouTube, one filled with cat videos and late night shows, and another that has a whole culture around it, calling it inner YouTube. He describes this inner YouTube as a place for generally people under the age of 25, along with some older people with abundant free time. So if I get this straight, if you care about any creator on YouTube, you have abundant free time. All right, my guy, Kevin. Man, what about all the adults that watch Casey Neistat? Or what about the business people who watch people like Roberta Blake or Gary Vaynerchuk? Do they just have abundant amounts of free time, or are they trying to learn something? Kevin, buddy, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, all right? Maybe you just don't understand the whole thing, but this is a very harsh generalization of what inner YouTube actually is. Not all videos are made by the Dobry brothers. In his YouTube video, Kjellberg is a spring-loaded ball of manic energy. He screams, he curses, he cracks himself up. But in person, he was withdrawn and polite, with the stiff body language of the job applicant. He seemed eager to make a good impression, or at least appear non-threatening. Now, I wanted to comment on this paragraph in particular because I feel like the majority of people don't completely realize that everything you see on YouTube is an elevated version of reality, a facade, if you will. For instance, in real life, I don't project as much knocked out sentences like I do in my videos. That would be weird, and I'd be sent to a mental hospital. Everyone on YouTube is a character, a version of themselves that they want to portray on the internet, no matter how big or small the changes to the personality are. Don't get me wrong here. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, all right? That's good. It's all good. It can just be sometimes a little bit dangerous psychologically for the audience who think they truly know the creators that they watch on YouTube. Because they don't. It's called a parasocial relationship, and we've all felt it before. And now, my friends, this is where the article derails from humanizing PewDiePie to just rapid firing every controversial thing he's ever done. But I will say this paragraph in particular is absolutely hilarious. In early 2015, he nearly blew up his Maker Studios deal over a video where he read erotic fan fiction starring characters from Frozen. According to a person with knowledge of the incident, Bob Iger, Disney chief executive, was very upset when he found out that a YouTuber employed by one of his subsidiaries was cackling over pornographic depictions of Elsa and Olaf the Snowman. Iger calmed down after a Maker Studios staff member explained that erotic fan fiction was a popular internet genre. I'm just imagining the staff member being like, yeah, Bob, you know those characters that you made for children? Well, they're actually sex symbols now, and it's completely normal, Bob. It's completely normal. I mean, I know because I read them every day. And Bob Iger just being like, okay, that's cool. Let's buy Fox so that I can feel better. Another former colleague of Kjellberg's told me about an incident that happened in November 2016. Kjellberg arrived at the taping of Scare PewDiePie, a show that he was making for YouTube's premium video service, and a t-shirt with the swastika drawn on it. Kjellberg explained that the shirt was part of a running joke on his vlog, in which he and his friends, at least one of whom was Jewish, pranked each other by drawing things on one another's shirts. Alright kiddos, let the PewDiePie expert explain what really happened. Firstly, the Jewish friends mentioned here in this article are Ethan and Hila Klein from H3H3 Productions. What the article did get right is that it was just a joke in Felix's vlog, but I want you to watch this clip, okay? The clip from the video in question, uncut, unedited, and I want you to decide if it's malicious.
Ethan, last time you were on the show, you drew something very special for us.
Oh yeah.
Well, it wasn't my idea.
Now,
That was 100%.
It was not my idea.
$20 for a swastika.
Hey.
No.
No.
There you go. Marx's credit card.
Now, here's your 20 back.
Oh!
I think I just broke the law. I think I'm
that's
going to jail.
illegal.
I think I'm going to jail. Hila, you're my handler. You're supposed to help me. This may get you.
Jesus.
This may get you age restricted.
this is a very provocative looking shot.
There's your thumbnail. Page 3.
Oh! I'm the only one who can do that.
I can't.
Look how pissed
That's
he
what
is.
you get for not
Look
being
how
involved.
pissed he is.
When World War II happened, yeah, I didn't forget. You guys did get involved. Now you're
He
paying.
knows the history.
Now you're paying the price. I didn't forget.
She's a sweet girl. Trust her, Felix. She won't.
Okay.
What did you do?
It's just a cute face.
It's the face.
Wait, you turned the swastika into a nose?
Yeah.
It's still a swastika, sorry.
No, I think I can get away with that.
Yeah.
Definitely can get away with that. Hey, is that a swastika on your shirt?
No, it's a nose.
Personally, I don't think it was malicious in any way, shape, or form, especially considering that it was drawn next to a penis and made into a nose a few minutes later by Hila. Though I do want to be clear, I do not condone any of the swastika jokes or the Nazi jokes that PewDiePie has mentioned and made in his past. I'm just bringing up context where context is needed. In February 2017, Kjellberg learned that the Wall Street Journal was preparing to run an article about 9 videos posted on his channel over the course of 6 months that contained anti-Semitic jokes or Nazi imagery. In a post on his Tumblr, he explained, "I think the content that I create as entertainment and not a place for serious political commentary." His jokes, he said, were in no way supporting any kind of hateful attitudes. In defense of Felix, he was pushing a line that had not yet been put in place. Still though, the jokes are mature, they should have never been made, but in context, they were harmless. And it's not like he was only making pro-Nazi jokes. Like, he would tell his fans to stop making swastikas in video games, which the article does thankfully mention. And I know we're jumping around time a lot here in this article, but it also mentioned the same train of thought that PewDiePie shouted out a channel featuring Nazi imagery. Though what the article fails to mention is that in the wake of PewDiePie vs. T series, Felix wanted to redirect some of the love that he was receiving to smaller channels that he thought deserved more subscribers. And that's what he did. He shouted out over 27 smaller channels, and one of those channels had an older clip featuring Nazi imagery. So what I've learned from this is that before you help any person, anybody, for any reason whatsoever, make sure they've never done anything bad in their entire lives. Because if you don't, you're gonna get canceled for association. The standard that PewDiePie has been held by over the years is kind of insane. When asked about politics, PewDiePie claimed to be apolitical. But there's a part of me that doesn't completely buy that, because just the other day he came out against Brexit. So he does care a little bit. But saying you're apolitical, even though you might not be on every single political stance, is a great way to stay neutral, and I respect that reality. He confessed that he periodically thought about giving up on YouTube altogether. His wife had given up on her popular YouTube channel last year. I suggested that he could do the same thing. Shutter his channel and spend his days lounging in a hammock somewhere with her. "Don't tempt me," he said with a smile. "I kind of question if the positive outweighs the negative," he went on. "It's a lot more than I think I signed up for." This was definitely an interesting sentiment to read, and I think it's something that will resonate with everyone in the YouTube community. Though something to chew on regarding this interview is that this was done before 100 million, before the end of the subscribe to PewDiePie meme, before he was married, and of course before he started playing Minecraft. Since then, Felix has come out about how much more he loves creating content, and although big picture he won't be around forever, that's just inevitable, I'm seeing a lot of news outlets just start running with stories saying that PewDiePie is about to leave YouTube, and it's stupid because that's not the case. Pews will do what he needs to do and leave YouTube when he's ready to leave YouTube. We don't need to rush him. Why are we rushing him? But let's just all remember that this interview is dated, especially considering that it came out 2 days ago. When I first read this article, it really felt like a hit piece, but as I sat on it for a bit, I started to appreciate what it was doing. The New York Times is reaching an older, more out-of-touch audience. An audience that is probably only aware of him saying the N-word or making some Nazi jokes. But anyone who has actually given PewDiePie the time of day know that he's not this crazy neo-Nazi trying to shoot up mosques. That's not PewDiePie. And it's just crazy that even in 2019, we're still trying to get this message across. When does it end? And I don't think it ever will, unless we have more articles like this. The thing is, you, me, we understand YouTube culture and what's considered a joke and what's not. Whereas my parents' generation, well, let's just say they need more of a helping hand in that regard. And that's not a dig on them, it's just the target demographic of this article doesn't watch PewDiePie, their kids do. This reply from Scott Yates says it all. Thank goodness, now I know what the heck my son is talking about. The only way to change someone's mind on a subject is to meet halfway, seeing both sides of the arguments and creating a bridge of reason, of context, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to build the bridge for one person to get from one side of the spectrum to the other. Though I still think the article fell short in a lot of ways. This article laid the groundwork for that very bridge to be built, which is a very much needed first step. I'm not gonna lie, the response to this article has not been overwhelmingly positive. It's been more so mixed. But at least it's starting a conversation. A somewhat ignorant one, but still a conversation. Here are just some of my favorite ignorant responses that were tweeted on Twitter. Oh boy, another fun profile on a white supremacist anti-Semite. What a unique and original story idea. You misspelled, man. It's Nazi, not a YouTuber. And lastly, and worstly, you didn't suggest he kill himself. For effing shame, sir. Wow, people will never stop being willfully ignorant. For what it's worth, this article wasn't bad at all, and it's probably the best mainstream article that PewDiePie's ever received in years. There was just a lot of context missing, which is why I made this video. Although we disagree on a lot, I have respect for Kevin's work and laying the groundwork for that bridge. It's just a shame that so many will hide behind computer screens, tearing apart someone they know absolutely nothing about.